Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's explainer, where we're going to take a really close look at something absolutely everyone uses. But let's be honest, maybe one in a million people truly understands. I'm talking about medical insurance. We all carry those little cards in our wallets like Lucky Charms, right? And we rely on them when things go horribly wrong. But how often do we actually stop and analyze how the mechanics of it truly work? Today, we're going to break down the real logic behind medical insurance. So think about it. What does your medical insurance actually do? If you're like most people, your immediate gut instinct is just to say, well, it pays my medical bills. But today, we're going to challenge that assumption. We're going to completely shift your paradigm here because understanding the true functional design of your primary medical coverage is literally the absolute first step to truly protecting yourself financially. Your whole approach to managing financial risk, and specifically the terrifying odds of facing massive catastrophic medical expenses, is going to change dramatically once you can answer just three vital questions. First, what is its purpose? Second, what does it do? And third, what does it not do? When you strip away all that confusing insurance jargon and just look at these three questions in their absolute simplest terms, everything becomes incredibly clear. Let's start right at the top with question number one. What is its purpose? Like, essentially, what is medical insurance at its core? I want you to really think about this for a second. Why was this massive system built in the first place, and who is it primarily designed to serve right out of the gate? Well, the answer actually caught me totally off guard. It turns out the original intended purpose of medical insurance is simply to make sure doctors and hospitals get paid, period. It wasn't necessarily built to protect your wallet on day one or to make your initial visit to the clinic free. Its foundational purpose is to act as a financial guarantee for the medical providers. It basically ensures that when major care is provided, the facility and the professionals delivering that care can keep their doors open because they are for sure going to see their money. So once you accept that the system is fundamentally built to guarantee payment to the providers, we can transition to the second question. What does it actually do for you, the policyholder? What is the actual mechanical function of that policy you hold in your hands? The answer is that it caps your out-of-pocket costs in the event of a catastrophic accident or illness. To really visualize this, I want you to imagine an empty pint jar just sitting on a table. That jar represents your potential medical expenses. What your primary medical insurance does is act exactly like a lid. When things get truly catastrophic, your insurance steps in and slams that lid firmly on the jar. It creates a ceiling. It caps the damage so that your expenses can't just keep overflowing endlessly and bankrupt you completely. Now, what's really interesting about this is the harsh contrast of what it does not do. It provides the cap, the lid on the jar, but it absolutely does not pay your first dollar expenses. When you have any kind of standard medical event and you go to use your insurance, it doesn't reach down into the bottom of that jar and start paying from the ground up. It just waits at the very top. Which brings us to a pretty unavoidable, brutal reality. The first dollars all come out of your pocket. Let that sink in for a second. Think back to our empty pint jar. The lid protects you from infinite risk, sure, but all that empty space inside the jar, that is your hard-earned money draining away before the insurance company even lifts a single finger to help. We call this empty space the gap. The gap is the void between your personal, hard-earned savings and that maximum out-of-pocket cap, where the insurance company finally decides to take over and do the heavy lifting. Understanding this gap is the entire key to this explainer, because this is the specific portion of the financial risk that is left entirely 100% up to you. And just how big is that gap? $9,450. For 2024, that is the out-of-pocket void left completely up to you. That's nearly 10 grand of risk sitting squarely on your shoulders. If a catastrophic accident or illness hits, that is the exact amount of first dollars that will drain straight from your bank account before your primary insurance truly shields you. So, the solution? Supplemental insurance. Look, we simply cannot leave ourselves exposed to a $10,000 void. That is exactly why you need supplemental insurance. It's not just about throwing more money at the healthcare system. It's a highly specific tool designed to fix this exact vulnerability using what we call first dollar benefits. Instead of draining your savings to reach the lid of the jar, a supplemental policy attacks the bottom of the jar. It steps in right at the ground floor to handle those initial heavy hits to your wallet. Let's see how this builds. These first dollar benefits specifically target the most common financial disruptors: a sudden accident, a critical illness diagnosis, or an unexpected hospital stay.
When life happens, and we all know it does, this policy kicks in immediately to fill the gap, ensuring that the burden of those early expenses doesn't completely wipe out your personal savings. And this brilliantly illustrates the whole strategy. When you combine your primary medical insurance, the lid on the jar, with a supplemental policy filling the bottom, you completely transform your risk profile. By filling the gap, you can ensure that an incredible 85 to 90% of all your medical expenses are covered. You have effectively neutralized the absolute most dangerous part of your healthcare risk. Which leaves us with one vital question to consider today. Are your personal savings ready for the first dollar gap? If you don't have supplemental coverage right now, that $9,450 void is just sitting there waiting for you. Remember the empty pint jar? Check your own coverage and ask yourself if you are truly protected. Thanks for joining me on this explainer today. Take control of your risk, and I'll see you next time.